Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. Welcome back to my playthrough of Apollo Justice, the Ace Attorney Trilogy. Hope that you guys are enjoying this series. If you are, do drop a like. Let's continue where we left off, and we are going to be doing the trial now. And a lot of you guys have told me in the comments that something really crazy is going to happen at this trial. It seems that this twist is going to, basically make me freak out more than the other ones. But yeah, it's like, I have never played a game that has had more twists than the Ace Attorney series. It's like every single trial you go through, there's always some crazy, insane twist that you don't expect. May 12, 9:34 a.m., High Court of Khura'in, Accused Lobby. Maya looks exhausted, but I can't blame her. Nick, I was thinking about it, all day yesterday. I never properly asked you to defend me, did I? Doesn't matter. I'm on this case till the bitter end. I know. That's why I wanted to officially ask you for your help. You got it, Maya. Let's do this. We gotta wrap this up and get back home so you can make your dream show come true. The Steel Samurai versus the Plume Punisher, right? You bet. You look as if you did not sleep last night, Barbed Head. It is written all over your face. How can you expect to put up a respectable defense like that? I'm all fired up and raring to go. I guess Maya's not the only one looking exhausted. Rafa doesn't seem in the best spirits herself. Go ahead, feign confidence now, while you are still able. For I will see to it that your last rites are read to you this day. Guess it was just my imagination. Ready, Nick? Okay, Maya, let's head on in. May 12, High Court of Khura'in. Day 2 court is now in session. All rise. Okay.
Now then, if everyone is ready.
The defense is ready, Your Majesty. The prosecution is ready. Let us begin without further delay.
Oh, no prayers this time, Prosecutor Sadmati.
I already offered my prayers for the latest victim during my visit to the crime scene. Being that the accused has already been found guilty of the first murder, let us hasten this trial so we may put this dead lawyer walking out of his misery.
I could not agree more.
Well, you're supposed to be non-biased, Judge. That's why you're supposed to be a judge. But he's already attacking the defense.
In yesterday's trial, the accused was already found guilty of murdering the High Priest. And today she will be tried for the murder of his disciple, Puhray Zealot. Now then, Prosecutor Sadmati, your opening statement, if you would.
Certainly. The accused has now slain 2 of the most devout clergymen in Khura'inism. Even the lowest level of hell, the hell of tickling, would not be punishment enough. But didn't we confirm that the priest was basically a rebel? And so now you're saying that he was this high official in the Khura'in religion?
Then what terrible fate awaits her?
Baligapun Kon Hell, a realm of eternal agony. There she will suffer the endless punishment of Jagar by the Galoon of Pul Moten. Furthermore,
Enough! My blood runs cold at the mere thought of that such a terrible place exists.
I was going to ask for a translation, but on second thought, ignorance is bliss.
Now then, please continue minus the part about the terrible hell awaiting the accused.
As you wish. The victim of this heinous crime was the High Priest's disciple, Puhray Zealot. He had been training under the High Priest while living at the priest's home.
I had met him a number of times, and he seemed like an earnest young man. How tragic that he met such a terrible end.
The murder occurred at the Plaza of Devotion, during the purification rite. It was a bold crime, carried out while the plaza was full of the faithful deep in prayer. The warped dagger was found impaled in the victim's upper back. The stabbing caused a spinal cord injury that killed him instantly.
Ah, the warp dagger, Lady Kee'ra's weapon of choice.
We have already established the accused prints were on the weapon. Incredibly damning evidence in itself. No, I didn't do it!
Objection!
Hold your tongue. Now, being that the accused Maya Fey is a serial killer, the prosecution believes that the death penalty is the only possible sentence.
Would the defense care to respond?
The accused is innocent, and nothing can convince me otherwise. After all, the crime scene was packed with worshippers. How could my client possibly have committed this murder without a single witness? They're gonna say because they were all in prayer. The accused's fingerprints on the murder weapons alone is enough to render a verdict. As such, I see no need to debate this any further. If the defendant's prints are on the murder weapon, they could still win the trial, but it would be very, very difficult. If the defendant's prints are on a murder weapon, that's very, very, very bad. The only way in a court of law you would be able to prove that the defendant's prints are on a weapon without getting them convicted is if you can prove why they specifically picked that up. If it was like something that a lot of people had used, like for example like a baseball bat, like, you know, a lot of people have been playing baseball with it, and the defendant's prints are on it also, but then you could argue that a lot of other players had used it too. But considering the fact that there isn't anybody else's prints on it, the killer used gloves, so this is gonna look really bad. But Maya probably picked up the dagger during a ceremony. She just doesn't remember because she was knocked out. But
Well, once her benevolence conducts her seance, it will be clear for all to see.
Your Majesty, might I have a word?
Is something the matter, Prosecutor Sadmati?
It is about the divination seance.
Your benevolence!
Stop right there, Prosecutor Sadmati. As you wish. Forgive me for overstepping my bounds. What was that all about? He probably didn't want her to... He probably didn't want her... He probably saw her seance beforehand, and there's probably something in there that he does that's disproving his claim. That's probably why. Barbhead, have you made peace with your fate? I think that the reason she's acting so strange is because she probably has seen something in the seance that also made her question it. For this time, the divination seance will bring you to your knees. I'm ready, and I accept your challenge. The only problem is I have no weapons at my disposal. Our only hope now is that we can glean from the seance vision and Raifa's insights.
Very well. The divination seance, if you please, your benevolence.
Yes. Let us begin. Nena.
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes of everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped. O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
I'm really curious what we will see in this seance because the victim was down praying, so we're probably just gonna see the floor. Okay, let's see what this divination seance is. This is gonna be the victim's last moments, Puhray Zealot's last moments. I don't get it. Why wasn't there anything to see?
Your benevolence, what in the world?
I was unable to evoke any sort of response. I called out the spirit's name many times, but to no avail. Just as I thought. Wait, what does he know that we don't? I had sought to confirm the contents of today's divination seance. After all, it is customary for the prosecutor to verify it beforehand. Come to think of it, I must go perform a divination seance for Puhray Zealot. It is our custom for the prosecution to review its contents before a trial begins. And that is why I sought to stop her benevolence from performing it here. However, she insisted that it be done. She wished to try one more time here in the Hall of Justice.
It would appear her benevolence is tired from her manifold duties.
I am not anything of the sort. Wait. I've got a theory here. What if Puhray Zealot is actually alive? What if he's not actually dead? Was there an autopsy report? That tattoo on his neck. What if Zealot is actually alive? That's the only possibility that I can think of why the seance didn't work. Because you can't commune with a spirit that's not dead. The victim's spirit will not answer my call, but I know not why. What if the government of Khura'in is trying to cover this up? They're trying to eliminate Zealot as a suspect because they know what Pheonix might accuse him. But it maybe it was Zealot who's been behind the killings. It is my sacred duty to convey the truth through the divination seance. Rafa.
What are we to do without a divination seance?
I suppose I shall have to deliver the last rites without them. The prosecution has already taken that into account when preparing for today. I am fully capable of providing the accused's guilt. Proving the accused's guilt, with or without a divination seance.
Oh! You never fail to impress, Prosecutor Sadmati.
This is bad. Divination seance is my one and only hope. Your Majesty, her benevolence said she isn't tired. So shouldn't we try to find out why the divination seance failed?
How curious, Mr. Wright. Why have you suddenly taken such a keen interest in the divination seance?
Yes, explain yourself. The divination seance is for shedding light on an accused's crime. It is the Holy Mother's hammer of wrath that is ever poised to pound you into your grave. You should fear it, not plead for it. I believe in my client. Plus, yesterday, somebody told me something that changed my mind. The divination seance was once thought of as just another piece of evidence. If we were to correctly interpret the visions through careful analysis, then they should lead us to the truth behind what really happened. And the truth will show that my client, Maya Fey, is innocent. The truth is, you don't have anything else to fall back on, huh, Nick? Maya, please. You're not helping. How dare you! The voice of a minima is to be feared, not utilized by vile lawyers such as you. Seances exact a heavy toll upon the royal priestess. It would be best not to burden her any further. Or does the defense feel that it can pose no counter-arguments without the seance? No, of course not. He saw right through me. I'll have to find a way to make the divination seance happen or we're toast.
Well, since the divination seance is not possible this time, I see no other choice. Let us proceed with the trial without the seance, Prosecutor Sadmati suggested.
Thank you, Your Majesty. Why you? I will not forget this, barbed head. This will not be the last you see of me while we were defending you. And this is how you react. Now then, I will now proceed by providing an outline of the case at hand.
Very well. If the lead detective would please come to the stand, we may begin.
Sorry, Mr. Wright. Detective Sky, I understand how you would wish to save the accused in the defense. They are your friends, after all. But you must let them go and move on. I hate when he says that, let it go and move on. I hate that. I hate that so much. But there is only one way to save them now. By giving their souls the chance to burn away the taint of their sins in the infernal flames. Oh, I can't do this.
Ah, no eating in the Sacred Hall of Justice.
Miss Sky. Yes. Don't worry about me and Nick. You just do your job. I'm sure Nick will figure something out. Eventually. Eventually. Right. Thanks, Miss Faye. How very brave for a criminal with a tainted soul. Very well, Detective Sky. Please proceed. Okay, I can do this. Let me start with an overview of this case. Witness testimony. So, there's not going to be any kind of lies in Emma's testimony because Emma is our friend and she's going to try to help us. But there's probably going to be something off about her testimony that she doesn't see herself. Overview of the second murder. The latest victim was Puhray Zealot. He had been training under the High Priest and living at his house for the past 2 years. The High Priest's widow, Believe in Me, has identified the victim's body. He may have been mistaken for a rebel and killed due to his connection to the High Priest. Believe in Me identified the body.
I see. Well, that certainly makes sense.
Let me see. The High Priest's widow, Believe in Me. She's part of this somehow. She is involved in this too. There's a conspiracy going on here. Because if she identified the victim, she could have helped cover up the murder.
I see. Well, that certainly makes sense. Would the defense care to respond?
I didn't spot any inconsistencies in her testimony so far. And I don't have any evidence in my arsenal. What am I going to do? Press. What is it, Maya? I was just wondering about how much the police actually looked into Acolyte Zealot. Because it just might prove to be the key as to why the divination seance failed. What are you getting at? Well, it's just a hunch. Wait a second. During my investigation, Rafa told me about how the divination seance works. If I could figure out why it failed, maybe she could try it again. Okay, time to press for some more information. Okay, we're just gonna keep pressing now to see if we can get something. Overview of the second murder. The latest victim was Puhray Zealot.
Hold it!
What kind of person was Acolyte Zealot? According to the neighbors and others who knew him, he was a deeply devout youth. I too have heard his name mentioned as one who was a fervent practitioner. I suppose you might say he was the High Priest's star disciple. Furthermore, he had been training under the High Priest and living at his house for the past 2 years.
Hold it!
2 years. Are you sure about that? We took statements from his neighbors and his fellow monks. They all corroborated our initial findings. What about you, Maya? Well, when I first came here, I saw Zealot praying under the High Priest's instruction. I see. So the results of the police investigation seem to check out. The High Priest's widow, Believe in Me, has identified the victim's body.
Hold it!
Was Miss Inme's positive ID the only way you verified the identity of the victim? Huh? Well, no. We also checked the ID card he carried and the data in his family registry. ID card. But did you check his prints? Did you check his dental records? There's ways to identify a person. Dental records, prints, DNA. There's ways to identify a dead body also. But what? His personal information didn't match any of the public records we cross-referenced. Maybe that's why the divination seance failed. I'm not sure what you mean, Mr. Wright. Here's what I'm thinking. Puhray Zealot is a fake name. Let me see here. It's a fake name. The victim decided to hide his identity for some reason. In other words, he was using a fake name. The royal priestess used a deceased face and true name to summon their spirit. Why, yes. That is indeed true. If he was using a forged ID, and there is no mention of him in our public records, then he was likely an illegal immigrant. They are not uncommon here in Khura'in. An illegal immigrant. Come to think of it, Rafa mentioned something about immigrants yesterday. But if that's the case, we have no way of knowing who he really is. We'll have to proceed without holding a divination seance this time. Arg.
I'd always thought that Acolyte Zealot was Khura'inese. Oh, how the High Priest must be lamenting his disciple's deception in the Twilight Realm. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think?
Add it to the testimony. This is an important fact. Please add it to the testimony.
It would seem to be a fact most inconvenient for the defense. But if you insist, Detective Sky, please add what you just said to your testimony.
Yes, Your Majesty. He was an illegal immigrant, so we don't know his real name.
Hold it!
Isn't there some way to track down his real name? No, not if he was an illegal immigrant. Have you actually confirmed that he was in Khura'in illegally? Well, we don't have any conclusive evidence. But there's also no evidence of him being a citizen of Khura'in either. Oh boy, now what do we do? What if there was a clue in the evidence you gathered? That's probably our only hope at this point. If he really was an illegal immigrant, our proverbial goose is probably cooked. Okay. Is there a way to prove? That tattoo. I remember when they brought up that tattoo. It looks like a strawberry of some kind, or some kind of fruit. Everybody was puzzled by what that tattoo was.
Objection!
Am I right? Sorry, Detective Sky. But the police missed something important in their investigation. Huh? What are you talking about? The victim was undeniably a Khura'inese native. And this crime scene photo proves it.
It does.
It's a little hard to see, but look closely. You'll see clear proof that the victim was Khura'inese. Where? I don't see anything that would prove that. This proves that the victim was Khura'inese. The tattoo?
Take that!
Look at this tattoo right here.
Why, that's a tattoo of a peach?
I would like you all to think about the meaning of this tattoo. Oh, the victim really liked peaches?
Well, peaches are a favorite delicacy here in Khura'in.
That's a peach? It looks to me like a strawberry. They happen to be a personal favorite of mine. The sweetness of their abundant nectars and the softness of their perfectly ripe flesh. They are a blessing from the Holy Mother herself. Nick, I've suddenly got a craving for peaches. After the trial, Maya. Right now we have the bigger fish to fry. Unfortunately, that is not a tattoo of a peach. It is not a peach, you say? Then what is it? Take a closer look. Haven't you seen something like this before? Wait a second. Oh, how could I not... How could I miss that? I knew it was the tattoo, but look at that, right. Terrorist Inmi's tattoo. It looks very similar to his. It's upside down. It's on his forehead. It's... yes. Okay. But it looks like somebody painted over it. That's a weird way to get a religious tattoo. Namely the tattoo on the High Priest's bro.
Oh my.
What? This mark is only borne by members of the Khura'inist clergy.
Objection.
So that is what you believe it to be. But are they not utterly different shapes? Sure, they're shaped differently, but there's a reason for that. The victim had the peach-shaped tattoo inked over an existing tattoo for some reason. So it was a religious tattoo, and then he turned it into a fruit tattoo. So it's covered up. However, the dark red portion is exactly the same as the mark all Khura'inist clergy bear. Hey, you're right.
Until about 20-some odd years ago, everyone did get one, didn't they? I myself bear one on the right, but...
That is entirely too much information, Registry. Oh, man. Information on everyone who enters the clergy is maintained at the temple. All we have to do is look up a monk with a mark in the same spot. I'm on it. I'll let you know if I get any hits. That will not be necessary. If you seek information on the clergy, I have it all right here.
Oh my, you never cease to amaze. So tell us, is there anyone who fits the bill?
Neck tattoo. So every single Khura'inist person has the religious tattoo in a different spot, and that's how you're used to identify people on your registry. That's kind of creepy that everyone has the same tattoo, and that's how the government identifies people. There is just one, and his name is Real Nemu. Real Nemu. Real Nemu. What is that supposed to mean? What's the pun name? Real Nemu. Real Nemu. Real Nemu. Real Nemu. Real Nemu. Real no moo? Real no... Real Nemu. Real Nemu. Real Nemu. Real Nemu. Real Nemu. I'm trying to figure out what the name means, because the names always mean something like believe in me, that's believe in me. And then it's terrorist in me is trust in me. And, Puhray Zealot is supposed to be pray with me. That's what it's supposed to mean, so I'm trying to figure out what real in me. And that's Arabal is supposed to be that's a rebel. So what does this mean? Real Nemu. He became a monk 20 years ago. Then that must be the victim's real name.
Well, why would he have tried to cover up his tattoo with another one?
Yeah, there must have been some reason. Nick, that's not important right now. The important thing is, we know his real name. You're right. Your Majesty, now that we know the victim's real name, the divination seance might finally work.
A lawyer who willingly seeks a seance. That is entirely unprecedented.
Heh. You are but a digging your own grave defense. We won't know that until we try. Sure, it's risky, but it's our only hope.
Very well. Let the divination seance be held once more.
Why would a lawyer work so hard to see the divination seance be held once more? You are a fool, Barbed Head, and your foolishness shall yield no gratitude from me. For with the truth revealed by my insights, I shall gladly seek your demise. Bring it on, Princess. Because I will correctly interpret each and every one of your insights. You will regret ever thinking you could use my sacred insights as evidence.
O Holy Mother, we hold this divination seance in your name. Let the eyes of everyone here be clear, and our ears be unstopped.
If she's able to reach him this time, this will disprove my earlier theory that he was replaced with somebody else. So he's actually dead. The reason that she couldn't call to him is because she didn't know his real name.
O dance of devotion, guide the victim's soul to me, so that we may receive their final memories in the pool of souls.
Okay, let's see now what we're dealing with. Let's see what happens. We're doing the seance again. Okay, let's see what we're dealing with now. Okay, so he did die. Plum Punisher theme? Heavy? Pain. Plum Punisher theme, why was that playing?
Oh my! It's just Mr. Wright's surmise. Puhray Zealot wasn't the victim's true name. And now at last we have seen the victim's final moments.
But all we could see was the ground. Well, he seemed terribly disappointed. I take it you did not find any father for one of your infamous turnabouts. I, on the other hand, have discovered something. Conclusive evidence that establishes the accused's guilt. No, we didn't see anything there. You did.
Oh! A most surprising surprise attack. So tell us, Prosecutor Sadmani, what is this conclusive evidence?
He's gonna say that the Plum Punisher theme, that it was Maya. That's what he's gonna say.
What is this conclusive evidence you have found?
The Plum Punisher theme song that the deceased heard. Please consider this item here. It was confiscated from the accused during her interrogation. Hey, that's my Plum Punisher strap. So, the killer knew that this had a backup plan. They played the Plum Punisher thing here in case to further frame Maya. When you press the Magatama on the Plum Punisher's belt, okay. There's something off with the seance, we have to find it. It seems the accused inadvertently pressed a button in the midst of her crime. This strap is an extremely rare item, is it not, Miss Faye? You better not break it. There's only one of those in the whole wide world. Maya, no! Oh, man. It's just as I said. Your flights of fancy have come crashing down on you. She sure seems to be enjoying this. Yeah, I've never seen her look so thrilled before either. It's time to accept the fact that divination seance is far more than mere evidence. It is the very truth that brings the hammer of justice down upon the accused.
That is as conclusive evidence can get. Now then, if there are no further objections...
Objection!
Slow down there, your majesty. At least let me make a counter-argument.
What's this? Do you take issue with the divination seance?
Oh, I have issues with it. I just don't know what they are yet. But that's never stopped me before. Divination seance is not the absolute truth. It only becomes the truth after it's been interpreted correctly. You do not know when you are beaten, do you, you foolish lawyer? I'm the only one who speaks for the minima of the deceased. If you believe there to be errors in my insights, then let us see you prove it. Oh, I'll prove it all right. Okay. There's something wrong with this seance. There's something wrong with it. Rafa's insight. The victim was offering up his prayers. It was the night of the rite. Though it's dark, the pattern on the plaza's ground was visible. Then someone was there, and the theme to the Punisher filled the air. The accused held the defenseless victim down, and plunged her knife into his neck. The blade struck true, and in that instant, he departed from this world. That is everything the deceased experienced in his final moments. Her benevolence's insights have painted a detailed picture, both vivid and true. I didn't notice any holes there. As they stand now, those insights are really stacked against us. I'll just have to go over each and every one of the deceased's sensations very carefully. Okay. The victim was offering up prayers. It was the night of the rite. Though it's dark, the pattern of the plaza's ground was visible. Then someone was there, and the theme of the Punisher filled the air. Ginga Hill. I think this is the... The accused held the defenseless victim down, and plunged her knife into his neck. Blade struck true, and in that instant he departed from this world. Which starts at noon on the day before the rite. Okay, hang on. The night. This is the one. This is the one. We're on the right track right here. It's that food that they eat. Partake in dishes made with gingaho. These dishes are only prepared during the feast, which starts at noon. And if you don't, you have to eat it between noon and 3 p.m. because then the smell will go away, because it's a very smelly dish. And so Rafa's claiming this happened during the night, but the person who killed him was eating this ginga hill, the meal with it beforehand.
Objection!
Was it really the night of the rite? Yes, I got it right. What do you mean? It could not be otherwise. The accused slew Acolyte Zealot after killing the High Priest during the purification rite. The only problem is the deceased spirit does not corroborate that. What's this? Take a good look at what the victim smelled. Do you see how it says Ginga Hill? Acolyte Zealot shouldn't have smelled any Ginga Hill on the night of the rite.
What do you mean?
Let me back up my statement with some evidence for you. This should explain how the victim couldn't have smelled Ginga Hill in the night of the rite. Believe statement, this one.
Take that!
The High Priest's wife, Believe in Me, told me about the Feast of Blessings. The feast includes a number of Ginga Hill based dishes. I'm sorry if I'm reading that wrong. And they're only supposed to be served at a certain time the day before the rite.
Well, why, I believe you're right. I'd completely forgotten about that.
During the feast, the unique smell of Ginga Hill pervades the entire kingdom. The fact that the victim smelled it means he was murdered between noon and 3 p.m., the day before the purification rite. I am not so easily fooled. Did that autopsy report not make it clear? The estimated time of death was during the rite. Alright, I taught her about that yesterday. Forgive me, your benevolence. But the estimated time of death is just that, an estimate. Depending on the circumstances, it's possible for it to change. What's this? Like, if a body was kept cold, the slowed rate of decay makes the death seem more recent.
Well, I believe I have heard something of the sort before.
How could you not know this and you're a judge?
If it is as Mr. Wright claims, the estimated time of death in the autopsy report will have to be revised.
Cause of death was a spinal cord injury being stabbed in the upper back by a bladed weapon. Let's look at the updated autopsy report now. That's the meme, too. Spinal cord injury, okay. May 8th, 12 to 3 p.m. Okay. It's been updated. Barbed head, you! You blinded me with science! Sorry. Wait, what am I apologizing for? No matter. The murder may have, occurred in the afternoon hours the day before the rite. Nevertheless, the murder weapon with the, accused prints on it is incontrovertible evidence. I will now amend my insights to account for this new truth. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. Though it's dark, the pattern on the plaza's ground was visible. The time of death has been corrected, leaving my insight infallible. Nick, a change in the time of death is bound to cause some sort of an inconsistency. If I had something that showed what it was like on that day, it could really help. The victim was offering up his prayers. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. Though it's dark, the pattern on the plaza's ground was visible. Wait a second, wait! I figured it out! One of you guys asked me in the comments if I could figure it out before the big twist comes. I'll tell you what. Look at what Puhray Zealot. Look at the ground that he's on. You see that ground right there? You see it right there, right? See it? Take a look at this. You see that? Look at that with the blood. That grassy statue thing that's in the rebel hideout. That right there. You see like the two handprints on it and there's blood there. He was killed there. That's where he died. You look at what he's holding his ground on. It's similar to the ground, the prayer mat, but that shape is also similar. It can't be a coincidence. So he was killed in the he was killed in the rebel room, but then how did his body get all the way down the stairs? If that's I don't think that's a coincidence. It's the same shape, and you see it on here, like the two hands like this, unless that's Terrace Inme's hands. Something's not right. Something's wrong. Something's seriously off here. The victim was offering up his prayers. Let me see here. Newspaper. The thick white ice that froze the ground from the inner sanctum of the Plaza Devotion until yesterday has melted. Let me look at his autopsy report. May 8 is when he died. May 8 is his death. But the newspaper says... And hang on. Terrace died on May 10th. But the newspaper says the thick white ice that froze the ground from the inner sanctum of the Plaza Devotion until yesterday is melted. The rite can now go on as planned. We give thanks to the blessing of the Holy Mother and Lady Kee'ra. Happy Rocky. Ice that froze the ground. Okay. How do I prove this now? The touch.
Objection!
Your benevolence, isn't this... Okay, hang on. I got it wrong, but I'm on the right track. I know I'm right. I know I'm right. It might just be that I'm not showing the right evidence early on here. The ground should have been frozen. Which one am I supposed to choose here now? That's the thing. I know I'm on the right track. The ground should have been frozen. Look at how heavy it gets bigger. It's like shaking.
Objection!
Damn, okay. I know I'm on the right track, but how do I prove this? I know I'm on the right track here. I figured it out, but consult Maya. Nick, have you found any consistencies yet? I've been trying my best, but I didn't notice any problems with the sensations that appeared. Then I guess we better focus on what the victim saw in his final moments. Another look at the updated insights might help too. Changing the day and the time of the murder could result in inconsistency. Right, let's review the seance vision while comparing it to the insights. This. I guess it's this then. Because I was going for the touch, but I guess it has to be the sight then, what he saw here. Let's see if I'm right on this here.
Objection!
Okay, so it's that. I was going on the touch. That's what I was focusing on, was the touch. But it was the sight then. But I was right. I am on the right track though. It was that grass statue thing that he touched. The change in the date and time of the crime has caused a new inconsistency to surface. What's this? Ah, you are making that irritating face again. Cease that at once. Sorry, but this is the face I was born with. Now let's focus on what is important. What the victim saw in his final moments. Do you have bats in the, belfry? Barbed head, there is nothing to see. The ground at the plaza was all that entered the victim's eyes. And that's what I find so strange. On the day before the rite, it should have been impossible to see that pattern on the ground.
Impossible, you say? Do explain.
This piece of evidence shows why the plaza's ground was not visible that day. The newspaper.
Take that!
This newspaper has an article that is tiny in size, but huge in importance. It says the ground was covered with thick white ice the day before the rite. What? But...
The victim did not see so much as an ice cube on the ground.
Exactly. And so we must ask, what was the victim looking at in his final moments? If you have something to say, then say it. The last thing the victim saw was not the ground at the Plaza Devotion. This can only mean he was killed elsewhere. What? What?
What?
There is such shock that Aim is finished. What?
What?
Then where do you propose the victim was actually killed? Yes, tell us where. Otherwise, your argument is worthless. About that. I know where he was killed in the rebel hideout. Any ideas, Maya? Let me think. Well, it's somewhere green and shaggy, right? Right, but where could that be? What is it, Barbed Head? Giving up already? Not at all. Now, where have I seen something green and shaggy? This shows where the victim was killed. Rebel hideout photo.
Take that!
The secret hideout the rebels were using. The rebel hideout? There was no such place anywhere on the floor of that chamber. You're absolutely right. There's no place on the floor anyway.
Then what did the victim see in his final moments and not the floor of the rebel hideout?
This is what the victim saw in his final moments. This thing here.
Take that!
The shaggy green surface the victim saw was one of the moss-covered stone slabs. As you can see, there are two distinct hand-shaped impressions in the moss here. I believe the victim was killed while he stood there with his hands pressed against the slab.
Objection!
That does agree with the seance vision. However, one cannot definitely declare that they are one and the same.
I concur. There is no proof that a murder occurred in the rebel hideout.
Indeed. What evidence do you have of this? The blood. I've already shown you the evidence.
What do you mean?
Please take a look at the second version of the photo I just showed you. You can see the results of the luminol test I performed in the rebel hideout. This is proof positive that someone has been bleeding in front of the stone slab.
Is this true?
This information has already been provided to the police.
Detective Sky, to whom does this blood belong?
Well, we thought it was the High Priest's blood that flowed in from the outside, so we haven't tested it yet.
Then you must do so at once.
Yes, Your Majesty.
It appears the police have finished testing the blood. Detective Sky, state your report, please.
The blood found in the rebel hideout belongs to Puhray Zealot, just like the defense claims. Detective Sky, do you realize what your blunder has done to me? When this trial concludes, I want to see you in my prayer chamber. There I will deliver a joyous sermon onto you for 8 hours straight. I'm really sorry, but Please, anything but that. Nick, maybe, just maybe, this is the chance we've been waiting for. Yep, it would seem so. I hate to do this to Emma, but go for it. It's full speed ahead. The victim was killed in the rebel hideout the day before the purification rite. Then, his body was moved to the Plaza Devotion by someone we've yet to identify. So when we thought we saw Acolyte Zealot praying during the rite, he was already dead. He's been dead the entire time. And that's not all. If he was killed at the Inner Sanctum, that would explain one more thing.
And that would be?
How the time of death was made to look later than it actually was, the proof of which was left behind at the Sanctum. This points out that time of death was made to appear later than it actually was. History. This points to how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was. Let me look at his... The time of death was made to look later than it actually was. Oh! Wait, I know what this is. On the day of the rite, the water in the spring was already stained red when Abbott and me and Maya arrived at Inner Sanctum. That...
Take that!
Do you truly believe that could affect the estimated time of death? No, hang on. Because Maya's statement is that she saw that she saw red there. Hang on. I'm actually choosing evidence that is supposed to appear later on, I guess. No, I believe someone did. Time of death was made to look later than it actually was. The body? Because he was killed there. It was Terrorist in Me was killed there to cover up the blood of Puhray Zealot.
Take that!
Why, these are photos of the Inner Sanctum.
I'd like you to focus on this one. The proof is right here in this photo. This is how the time of death was made to appear later than it really was. Do you see how the snow has been removed from this one spot only? That's because it was used to keep the victim's body cold. And that's why the time of death wasn't what it seemed. The time was mistaken. And the place too? And just what do you believe that, that proves? That my client is innocent. What of her fingerprints on the dagger? And the Plum Punisher theme the victim hurt? You have failed to address these two key pieces of evidence. Herc, I see your point. Wasn't this your big chance, Nick? I'm really hoping that the difference in location can invalidate either the weapon or the theme song from being used as evidence against you. Actually, that might be possible, at least for one of them. Really. What's this? You say you can contradict our argument for a key piece of evidence. So he was basically kept on the snow. His body was kept in the snow so that it would be cold at night to keep the time of death hidden. And then the killer shoveled away the snow because the snow was bloody. Very well, let us see you try. Nick, take a good look at the rebel hideout photo. Oh. The defense can validate this piece of evidence. Is the Plum Punisher stuff in the hideout? Yeah, hang on, let me show you guys here what Maya's talking about. See that? There's a Plum Punisher clock in there. It's that one. The Plum Punisher theme. The Plum Punisher theme. And how do you intend to support such a claim? Since the murder happened in the rebel hideout, there's something there that played the theme song other than my client's strap.
It wasn't the strap! Is this true?
The item that played the Plum Punisher theme song was this.
Take that!
This is the Plum Punisher alarm clock. I believe the victim heard its alarm go off. What proof do you have that the alarm went off?
Objection!
What proof do you have that it was my client's strap that played the theme song? He got her good. He got her good there. Do not twist the facts with your lawyerly wiles. Either way, the accused would still be guilty based off of her prints on the murder weapon. And here's what really happened. The victim stood with his hands on a stone slab in the hideout. It was the afternoon of the day before the rite. Though there have been some twists and turns, that is the truth of what happened. I won't get anywhere until I can eliminate the dagger.
Most impressive, your benevolence. I see no inconsistencies anywhere in the prosecution's case.
No. There is one.
What's this? You still claim there to be inconsistency.
Try as you might. The outcome will always be the same. The victim stood with his hands in a stone slab in the hideout. There's still one more inconsistency. What is it? This is the hardest one. This is the hardest one now. This is the hardest one. I don't know if I'm looking too deep into it. The autopsy report says cause of death, spinal cord injury from a stab wound to the back. The weapon is thought to be the warp dagger. The accused plunged her knife in the defenseless victim's neck. I wonder if it could actually be that knife back there. What am I supposed to choose here? Heavy. Heavy, maybe? I mean, what is that supposed to mean? That he was pushing it?
Objection!
The victim was originally thought to have been stabbed while bent over in prayer. So did I get it right? Did I actually get it right? But he was actually standing with his hands against the stone slab, so he was pushing it. So the question is, where did the sensation of something heavy come from?
Yes, I see your point.
Since the victim was standing, he couldn't have been held down.
Then tell us, Mr. Wright, what was that heavy sensation felt by the victim?
What caused the heavy sensation on Zealot felt? Any thoughts, Maya? I agree that sense of heaviness seems important, but there's also a matter of Zealot's hands on the stone slab. Why were they even there? Could it be related to the cause of the heavy sensation?
Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any answer for us?
Of course. If I just envision the state of Zealot was in when he was killed. The cause of the heaviness the victim felt was... I think it's the falling stone slab, because remember, Pheonix nearly tipped it over, too. The only conceivable cause is... the stone slab is falling over, trapping the victim underneath.
What?
Oh. The stone slab came falling down on him, crushing him underneath? Right. That was the cause of the heavy sensation the victim felt. While your theory is impressive, you have overlooked a key fact. The victim was not crushed to death. Rather, he was stabbed. Oh, yeah. Or do you claim that the dagger was plunged in after the slab had fallen on him? Plus, had the killer been behind the victim, they would have been both crushed together.
Well, would you care to explain?
Sure, I'd love to. That doesn't mean I can. How could the dagger have been plunged in after the slab fell on the victim? The killer couldn't have plunged the dagger into the victim after the slab fell on him. It had to have been on the slab? But what if the murder weapon wasn't what we thought it was? Well, there were other weapons in the rebel hideout. But the entrance to the hideout is right by the stone slab. There isn't enough space between the two to use any of the weapons found within. Yeah, there's not much space by the entrance, is there? So what was the real murder weapon then? Better think of something. If the murder weapon wasn't the dagger, then the dagger must have been plunged into the victim after he was already dead. That means he was stabbed at least twice, but the autopsy doesn't mention that. Then he must have been stabbed in the same spot with something shaped like a dagger. It's that spear thing that's in the back room. Would the defense care to offer an explanation sometime this century? Wait, wasn't there something dagger-like near the scene of the crime? Yes. Something that had a shape similar to the warped dagger?
Present your evidence at this time, Mr. Wright.
This shows what really killed the victim. What if he was impaled on the statue when it turned? That's a possibility. There's only one of two things that I think could have killed him at this point. It's the statue, or it could have been that weapon. You see that little curved spear that's like back there?
Take that!
Is this not the photo from the scene of the High Priest's murder? Are you suggesting that the murder weapon is hidden herein?
This is what really took Puhray Zealot's life.
Take that!
But that is the
warped statue? Yep. Exactly. The warped statue has a dagger-like feathers protruding from it. That is what really took the victim's life.
Objection!
You imbecile fool! The statue is outside of the hideout. How do you propose it impaled someone who was inside because the door turns? Haven't you heard? The warped statue also functions as the hideout's door. What do you mean? So, he was pushed, the thing fell on him, and then he fell back onto that, and got impaled from the force of the stone. The stone statue fell on him, and impaled him. The weight of that statue pushed him onto that warped statue. The statue can pull a complete switcheroo. A switcheroo? To put it simply, it's a revolving door. Yep, here we go.
A revolving door. Why, it makes perfect sense.
Therefore, I believe the truth behind the divination seance to be this. As the victim entered the secret hideout, the stone sculpture came down toppling towards him. Yup. He threw up his hands to stop it, but his weight forced him backwards. Unfortunately, the warped statue was right behind him. This cannot be. But the accused's fingerprints were found in the dagger. She had held it while rehearsing for the rite, which is when her prints got on it.
This is a shocking turn of events, but there's a great deal of circumstantial evidence in the defense's favor.
Circumstantial evidence is basically evidence that you can't directly prove something, but it's implied to suggest something. Like, for example, circumstantial evidence is, like, the best example of it would be, like, the killer drove a red car, and the suspect was seen driving a red car from the neighborhood where the crime took place. Doesn't mean that he did it, but it's very suspicious.
I believe we must accept that the warped statue was what killed the victim.
Its shaped protruding feathers took Puhray Zealot's life. It's also a revolving door. Now that we know how Puhray Zealot really met his demise, there's no basis for claiming my client committed this crime. Nice work, Nick. How can this be happening yet again? The divination seance is the only truth. No, your benevolence. It's not the truth itself, but it is a means for shedding light on the truth. Do you understand now? Your kingdom needs lawyers so that they can interpret your insights. But that means I have been misinterpreting the voices of the spirits all this time?
Hey, your benevolence, are you unwell? All the color is drained from your face.
I will be fine. Continue your proceedings without me.
As you wish.
I feel kind of bad for her.
Now then, I would have the defense continue. Please explain what you have learned now that we know how the victim actually died.
Puhray Zealot was killed in the hideout before the High Priest's murder. That means the body found at the Plaza Devotion was moved there by the real killer. But only after the warped dagger was thrust into him. To make it look like the murder weapon.
That does seem to agree with what we now know. But why would the real killer go to such lengths?
I believe stabbing Acolyte Zealot's body with the dagger and moving it to the plaza was... A warning from the Twilight Realm. No. A crime committed for fun. To make it look like a serial murder. It was an attempt to make my client look like a serial killer. That's right. The real killer planned all of this. This Ford serial murder case.
They did.
That's it, Nick. Keep hammering away. What? Your reasoning has more holes in it than the cheese you foreigners so enjoy. What? Like those putrid hole-riddled clumps of curds that only a rat like you could love. Your reasoning, much like your putrid hole-riddled brain, has putrefied. What's his deal with things going putrid? You've yet to overturn my argument that he accuses the killer. A careful analysis of the chain of events up to the killing exposes the truth as follows. Disguised Lady Kee'ra, the accused found the rebel hideout the day before the riot. But Acolyte Zealot had followed her there after noticing her suspicious behavior. Caught by surprise, she pushed a stone slab towards him, and we now know the rest. But you have no proof for that. You have no proof for that. Like, literally, I've never been to the rebel hideout in my life. When the High Priest arrived at the Sanctum next day, he realized what she had done. That is when the accused murdered him in order to silence him.
I believe Prosecutor Sadmati has posed a compelling scenario. The defense, on the other hand, has yet to disprove the accused's guilt,
but we've already proven that somebody's trying to frame Maya because of the fact that why would the killer go to such lengths to stab him a second time with the warp dagger? It's to frame Maya. The proof is right there.
Objection!
Why would my client move Acolyte Zealot's body to where everyone could see it? And why would she stab the dagger with her fingerprints into his dead body? She had no reason to do any of those things. The dagger in his corpse was likely a warning to the rebels. Something along the lines of Lady Kee'ra was slated to find dragons.
so that is why she moved the body to the plaza for all to see.
Now he has the judge convinced too. I finally made some headway.
Well, Mr. Wright, for one of your groans of distress, is it not?
Groans of distress? Kills me to admit this, but I've got nothing to counter his argument with. I still haven't disproven the allegations against Maya.
Is it not time to end your futile struggle? You were already judged guilty yesterday. That makes you a dead lawyer walking. Accept the death that now awaits you, and in doing so, finally know peace.
A dead lawyer walking indeed. Then again, are not all lawyers who practice in Khura'in. But I must admit, I misspoke earlier. Allow me to amend my statement. I had said the defense's reasoning had a putrid cheese-like smell. But I now realize the stench was from his own putrid body, on the verge of death. Now a marauding zombie. Think, who could have killed Zealot the day before the rite? Who knew about the rebel hideout, and could gain access to the inner sanctum? Only those involved with the rite can enter the sanctum, so... Wait a second. Only rebel would have known about the secret hideout. And the only person who was involved with the rite had access to the sanctum. And was suspected of being a rebel is... Ah! Did terrorists in me kill him? Did somebody come to mind? Yes, except there's one huge problem. A huge problem? What are you two going on about? Plotting your escape from the Sacred Hall? I would not put it past you, considering you have no means to raise further objection. If I don't do something, Prosecutor Sadmati will have this one in the bag. I'll just have to bluff my way out of this, regardless of that huge problem. Your Majesty, I believe there is another suspect in the Puhray Zealot's murder.
Objection!
Even the most benevolent Holy Mother would not forgive such a desperate lie. After all, you know very well that such a person does not exist. No, there is one person who knew everything.
Does such a figure truly exist? Tell us who might that be?
I believe the prime suspect in Acolyte Zealot's murder is Terrace in me.
Take that!
It had to be someone allowed to enter the sanctum, and who knew of the hideout. And that would be the High Priest. He could have committed the crime if it occurred the day before the rite.
Talk to them!
You would pin a crime upon the dead, knowing very well that they tell no tales. Have you no shame? Dead men tell no tales. That is definitely a problem. If only the High Priest could tell his side of the story. What, do I have something on my face? Wait a second. Could this actually work? Oh no. Don't tell me I have some of my breakfast caught between my teeth. He's gonna ask her to channel the priest. No, there's even the slightest possibility. I'll have to go with it. Your Majesty. Dead men do tell tales, therefore I would like to request the High Priest's testimony.
His testimony? And just how do you propose we get the deceased to testify?
There's a way for the dead to testify. It's known as channeling. But it's gonna get Maya in trouble. Summon him here by means of spirit channeling.
What did you just say?
Spirit channeling? Has his lawyer finally got insane? This is sacrilegious. May the Holy Mother strike him down.
Peace. I am frankly astonished you even know such a thing. But spirit channeling is a secret art that only Her Eminence Queen Garan can perform. And Her Eminence is far too busy with other duties to perform it at our pleasure.
I suspect as much. That means our only hope is... It's okay, Nick. You can tell them. But Maya, I thought you wanted to keep it a secret here in Khura'in. Don't worry. It's not like it's against the law or violates some religious precept, so I don't think we'll be punished. At least, I hope not. But this is a crucial period for you. It'll decide whether you become a master of Khura'in. We don't have any other choice now, do we? If I'm found guilty, it'll be a lot worse than not becoming master of Khura'in. Alright, thanks, Maya. Actually, there is someone here who is capable of channeling spirits. But even her benevolence, Princess Rafa, finds the divination seance to be a challenge. Who could possibly have greater spiritual power than she aside from the Queen? That would be me. Is this some sort of joke? A foreigner could not possibly have such power. Even the royal priest is incapable of such a feat.
Peace! Peace, I say! Is this true? Is the accused capable of performing the secret art of spirit channeling?
Well, yes. Yes, I can. Now, Your Majesty, we'd like your permission to begin. That's Rafa. Your benevolence. This is an outrage! An outrage, I say. First, you make a mockery of the divination seance, and now spirit channeling? Her benevolence speaks the truth. Spirit channeling is a sacred rite. Foreign devils, I say they should be put to death immediately. Still your voices. Barbhead. Spirit channeling is a most sacred and secret of arts. Are you prepared to face the consequences of what you propose? Yes, I am.
Your benevolence, are you saying you approve of their use of spirit channeling?
I will judge whether their claim is true. If this is but another of their lies, they shall be executed on the spot.
Very well then. Your benevolence. What if the accused accidentally calls forth an evil spirit?
Do you truly believe this foreigner is capable of channeling spirits?
Oh, no, but I wanted to be sure as I am responsible for the safety of all present.
Well, an inexperienced practitioner could inadvertently call forth a dangerous spirit. But do not fear, for I have a Magatama of parting. With it, I can send spirits back to the Twilight Realm by halting the flow of spiritual power.
That is a relief indeed.
These foreigners have thrown down the gauntlet. Let us not shirk from their challenge. We must prove them guilty and deliver their last rites. Do I make myself clear, Prosecutor Sadmati? Perfectly, Your Benevolence.
Very well, then. The accused may channel the High Priest's spirit. But first, we must take a short recess to prepare. We will resume as soon as the preparations are complete. Until then, this court is adjourned.
Okay, so for people that are confused, the original Ace Attorney games had a lot of spirit channeling. I never played the Apollo Justice games. This is my first time playing them, but I did play the original Ace Attorney games. And for people confused what spirit channeling is Maya can do it, where basically Maya can bring the spirit of a dead person to testify. So basically their ghost. Their ghost, she's done that before in previous games. In previous games, you actually seen ghosts of the dead actually testify, but she wasn't able to do it because in Karain, a foreigner apparently can't do it, but she does have that power. But here's the thing is, the ghost takes over the body of the person channeling. So that means that the ghost is in full control. So if it's an evil ghost, the ghost can basically control the body of the Maya and attack people. That's a possibility that could happen, though. So we don't know if Terracin Me is a good guy. We don't know if he's a bad guy, if he's an evil guy. We don't fully know. The only thing we know is that he was a rebel. That's the only thing that we know at this point. We don't know if he was the one who actually even killed Puhray Zealot. We don't even know if he was the one. But I strongly believe at this point, I think that the killer, the one who killed Terracin Me, I think that's Believe in Me. I think Believe in Me is Lady Kee'ra. That's what I think. But I guess we'll see, and we'll see what the ghost of Terracin Me says on the next part. I'll have it up as soon as I can, because I know you guys are gonna really want to see this next part. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.